Well, we've reached the jump to 3 dimensions. The year was 1997. Pretty much every major series was making the big 2D to 3D jump. Mario saw great success in Super Mario 64, Zelda had Ocarina of Time along the way, and games like Tekken showed that fighting games could in fact work in 3D. Street Fighter tried to emulate that success, and failed. So was Mortal Kombat's turn. Mortal Kombat 4 was released for the arcades in 1997, and for the PlayStation and Nintendo 64 in 1998. A year later, it received a re-release in Mortal Kombat Gold for the Dreamcast, which didn't really change the game aside from adding 6 playable characters. You might notice that the screen is a little smaller whenever I record from Mortal Kombat Gold, and I apologize for that, but I had to record directly from the Dreamcast because this game has never been re-released. In fact, they've never re-released the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 4. I don't know why. So with the first array into 3 dimensions, did it work? Did Mortal Kombat successfully make the jump? Well, let's go into it. First, we got a plot to cover, and we'll let newly animated full-motion video Raiden tell you.
Thousands of years ago, in a battle with the fallen
you know what? I'll just tell you. Basically, he tells of how thousands of years ago, he was responsible for the death of an entire civilization. He defeated the fallen elder god Shinnok and cast him into the Netherrealm. But now, after Shao Kahn's defeat, Shinnok has returned again. Tie-in materials reveal that with the help of the sorcerer Quan Chi and an army of Hellspawn warriors, these include new characters like Reiko, who's just kinda there. Scorpion joins Shinnok's army in exchange for life, but has his own ulterior motives. Shinnok is able to take control of Kitana's newly freed realm of Edenia. Meanwhile, Raiden's forces consist of the wind god Fujin, Liu Kang, who tries to free Kitana but is unsuccessful in his mission. He joins with Sonya, Jax, a newly resurrected Johnny Cage, don't ask why, he just is, Sub-Zero, who takes his brother's costume in memory of him. Mortal Kombat Gold adds a few characters like Baraka, who's just wandering the realms, Kitana, who escapes from prison because Mileena helped her because she seeks to settle things with her, Kung Lao, who did not die from his injuries, he merely sought to seek out a peaceful life in accordance with his ancestral beliefs. CYRAX is there because he was popular in MK3. The look of the game is that we have finally moved past digitized actors, and we now have full motion video in place of still images and text. But you'll find yourself missing the still images and text more often than not. This was the early 3D days where character animations were conveyed by awkwardly waving their bodies around. Characters now have full 3D models. I recognize it's the early 3D area where characters' faces couldn't pull off more expressions outside of bobbling their heads. Unfortunately, the 3D is not really taken advantage of, except for instances like how with Liu Kang's bicycle kick, the camera will turn when pulling it off. You can sidestep, but I often forgot to do this, as it makes dodging special moves really easy. Since you don't even have to block, you can just sidestep your opponents. And the MK gibberish is really taken up to 11 in this game. I mean, just listen to some of these. So we get to the gameplay side of MK4, and let me tell you, they definitely didn't bother changing the formula too much. You still get your high punch, high kick, and low kicks. There isn't a combo system like there was in MK3, but you can pull off combos, but characters don't have specific combos like they did in MK3. You can pull out a weapon at times, but more often than not, that doesn't do any good, because you'll get hit and you'll be knocked out of your combo. There's a bit of a combo reset. Once you manage to pull off an incredibly long combo, the words maximum damage will appear, and your opponent will be knocked back. This is done to prevent infinite combos, but I find this doesn't always work, because sometimes I can get my opponent by pulling off a high punch combo really fast, and there doesn't seem to be anything they can do to get out of it. Characters can now also do some bone-breaking moves, which should cause instant death, but hey, video game. MK4 features some new and returning characters. Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Sonya, Jax, and Johnny Cage all make their return, and they play about what you'd expect. Mortal Kombat Gold adds a few additional characters such as Kitana, Mileena, Kung Lao, Baraka, and CYRAX. Oh, there's also one more character you can play as. By pressing up, up, down, down, left, left, right, right at the start screen of Gold, you can access the cheat menu. Once you do that, you go down to the hidden select bar, press up and left a few times, and boom, you're playing as Sector. Now, how would anyone know how to do that? You can also do this to play as Noob, Saibot, and Goro, but my luck didn't hold out for those. So, I'm going to talk about the new characters that this game adds. Fujin. Fujin is the god of wind, so his moves are all about making use of whirlwinds. I couldn't pull off fatalities, because one requires asking to press run and block 8 times, and I've never been able to pull those off. Tanya. Well, Tanya was originally supposed to be KITANA, but they changed her to a new character. Tanya has a fireball and a screw kick. Oh, her ending reveals that she's a traitor to her realm, so she's got that going for her character. Reiko. Reiko is, well, he's got shurikens, and he's got a teleport that's lifted straight from Noob Saibot, which is because he was intended to be Noob Saibot. Kai. Kai is a new member of the White Low Society, so he's an ally to Liu Kang. He's nimble, he's got an upwards fireball and a downwards fireball, so Kai is similar to Liu Kang, which makes sense since he is a fellow Shaolin monk. Jarek. He is Kano, which is because he was originally going to be Kano, but they wanted more new characters, so we have Jarek. And I'm sorry, Jarek, but you're just not going to cut it. Quan Chi. Quan Chi has a teleport stomp that does a lot of damage, and he's got a green skull attack, which is a lot like Shang Tsung's fireball. Shinnok. Shinnok has no uniqueness to his own. All he can do is do imitations of other characters. It's about as lame as it sounds. It's not even morphing like how Shang Tsung was able to do. I mean, his fatalities show him using bones, so why couldn't he have had special moves like that? Such a waste. The stages in this game are back to being Asian influenced. You got a couple of new stages like the Elder Gods Arena, the Ice Temple, and the Shaolin Temple. These look fairly nice as aesthetic, and Gold adds a few more returning stages like the Netherrealm and the Soul Chamber. But my problem is that no stage feels like it comes from Edenia. In Mortal Kombat 1, we had stages that took place on an island. In Mortal Kombat 2, every stage was an outworld, so there was something exotic and alien about them. In MK3, everything was a wasteland. So as far as setting goes, it's a bit of a disappointment. Fatalities are back. There's no friendships or any of that other crap, just 2 fatalities per character. And the fatalities aren't as silly as they were in MK3, so that's a plus. They're trying to get to a darker feel with these fatalities, and I like that. Although, I noticed one very weird glitch when doing Kung Lao's fatality. CYRAX's body apparently decided he wasn't dead yet. In fact, he was so happy, he was dancing. Now we get to the sub-boss. Like before, you can select your difficulty. This time, you can rotate your tower by pressing start. It took me a couple of tries to figure that out though. So that's why I'm shown fighting the same opponents for a while. But honestly, I find the opponents are nowhere near as challenging as they were in the first 3 games. In fact, they're kinda easy. When you get to the first sub-boss, it's Goro making his return from the original game. But unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, he has one big weakness: jump kicks! In fact, he doesn't seem to be capable of seeing them coming. Well, with that, it's on to the final boss, Shinnok, who is let down. I guess they heard complaints that Shao Kahn was too hard in MK3, which he was, but this is going the other direction. Shinnok is incredibly easy. In fact, most of the time I was able to just high punch him to death. Well, you get your typical death animation, though the gold version adds spikes coming out of his face for some reason. But now, I must cover the endings. Let's just say they are embarrassing. Poor voice acting, awkward stiff movements from the characters, and flat facial expressions like I already talked about. Because they are FMVs, a lot of similar stuff happens. You know, gotta save money. For example, in CYRAX's ending, his humanity is restored. But in Sector's ending, the same scene plays out, but Sector just walks in and murders everyone. So I'm just going to summarize the most important things from these endings. Kitana makes an offer to Liu Kang to rule by her side in Edenia, but he refuses because he must remain the champion of Mortal Kombat. Raiden is allowed to ascend to become an Elder God. In his place, he assigns Fujin to take his former place as protector of Earthrealm. Jared runs off a cliff like an idiot. Kung Lao makes peace with Goro, who agrees to a truce with the Centaurs by KITANA. Scorpion learns that Sub-Zero was not the one who killed his family, but Quan Chi. Quan Chi tries to return Scorpion to the Netherrealm, but Scorpion takes Quan Chi with him. Quan Chi takes it pretty well. Kai decides to wander the world to search for his soul. Oh, and Reiko... yeah, that happened. And that's all I'm gonna say on the matter, other than it does not mean what you think it does. So that's Mortal Kombat 4. Overall, it's a mixed bag. I did have fun with the game, but it doesn't really do anything to change up the formula. After 4 games, it was pretty obvious that the MK gameplay style was growing stale. Although the game sold well and was a commercial success, it was obvious that the glory days of Mortal Kombat were over. The series had lost its cool factor. In fact, it wouldn't be till 5 years where we get another game. An actual MK game! That would be the true jump to 3D. How did that fare? Well, join me in the next one. This is RetrospectGreg signing off. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a question? Leave a comment below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more.